I'm gonna open my eyes to a brand new day. Open my eyes to a brand new day. Open my eyes to a brand new day.
Frustration on the road midweek, but we have the chance to put that to one side. It will not be easy, though, as the lads head north again, this time to Wigan, who are promotion chasing and going for automatic as well. Lots coming up where we'll speak exclusively to Johnny Jackson. and goalkeeper Craig McGillivray. We'll also look back at Tuesday's defeats against Bolton. And best of all, we'll be heading down memory lane for the first time in a little while in what an edition it is set to be. We will be speaking to Andy Hunt. We've got the A-team in today, although I'm sure, Curbs, you'll find a way of benching Brownie at some point.
Squad player. Usually when it needs to.
Can you just tell me just one thing now? Please let me be able to speak, or not me, but please let Hunty speak when we speak to him, OK? Because I know what you're like. You'll be chipping in all the time.
I can say nothing.
I'm not allowed. Cuts me off.
A bit like that kids thing, you know. First one to talk gets punished. He won't be able to stop. He won't be able to stop, will he?
No, we wanted to pile in. Obviously, he played under you and he played with you as well. So just jump in when you want to. Secondly, Brownie, 2 Northern games in 4 days. Didn't fancy it second time round, no?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of travelling, isn't it? And I made a request and George, as usual, come up trumps me. So
no, but seriously, it's great to have Brownie with us, isn't it?
I think the car would have complained more, wouldn't it? All them sweet wrappers
they don't
in there.
allow me in the car, mate.
All them empty cans of fizz and whatever. What is on that long journey up to?
I'm up and back on my own. They won't
on
have
that
me
long
in.
journey up to Bolton and Wigan.
I make the call. Any chance, lads? No, full, mate. Sorry. Off I go in my old banger.
Yeah, and there's only 2 of them as well.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, and bringing it back round to today as well. I mean, how tough will today be, especially after what happened Tuesday?
Well, it is going to be. I think we're in must-win game situation now, aren't we? If we're talking about the playoffs, which everyone is, it's a long shot if we don't get the result today. I think we've got to look at this game as a must-win.
Yeah, can't afford to give away sloppy goals either, can we?
No, and do you know what? It's not. If you look at this as a must-win, I think it's just one of those ones where we're playing a bit for pride now from now to the end of the season. I can't see us catching the playoff spot. So therefore, for me, it's games like this where you're working out as a manager, your leaders who really wants to be here next year.
OK, we'll perhaps enlarge on that a little bit later. But earlier this season, when you were in the studio, we always seemed to win. We had the Curbishley effect with 3 wins on the spin recently. Have we got any lucky socks or shoes or pants? Or you did change your pants today, Brownie, didn't you?
Yeah, today I did. Oh, I try my best for the studio. Yeah. If I'm away at Bolton or something, I'll just leave the same gear on.
OK.
Lucky.
On that note, oh dear me, what a start we've had already. OK, let's hear from Jacko, shall we, who spoke to Charlton TV a little bit earlier.
OK, Jacko, another trip up to the northwest, second this week. It's all about bouncing back from Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, disappointing to come out of Tuesday with nothing. Thought we should have probably got a point from the game. Disappointed with the nature of the goals, spoke about that after. So quick turnaround, no time to sort of wallow in defeat. We had to get ourselves back to London, prepare the best way that we could, come back up here yesterday, ready to go again.
4 changes today, some enforced ones as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've had to do?
Yeah, Connor and Chucks are both injured. They've had niggles coming out of the game on Tuesday, so unable to field them today in any capacity. And Scott Fraser's got COVID, tested positive for COVID, so obviously he can't be involved today either.
It must be quite frustrating for you, like coming off the back of Tuesday, especially Scott Fraser coming off the bench and doing what he did. He was impressive, but you sort of never get a bit of luck, do we, in these situations?
No, it's unfortunate, isn't it? You know, they're three big players for us. Obviously, Scotty new to the group and has come on and done well in both games. Obviously, someone that was in my thoughts about starting the game today. Obviously, unfortunate that it was called COVID and can't be involved. And Chucks and Connor, obviously massive players for us, massive players that are going to obviously big losses. So it's frustrating.
One positive, the academy producing again. Daniel Carnu is going to be involved for the first time on the bench today. It's nice to see a young lad like that scored so many goals for the under-18s and 23s this season, getting potentially an opportunity to show what he can do.
Fantastic for him. Obviously, with the injuries that we've got in that area of the pitch, it's somewhere where we are light now. With Jaden being out as well, so you've got Jaden, Connor, and Chuck's missing. Mason's really your only real recognised striker there, and he's just a young lad himself. So great opportunity for young Daniel, and like you say, he's been doing great things with the youth team. Obviously watched him Wednesday night and was impressed with him again. So brilliant that he can get an opportunity to come up here with the first team, be involved, and who knows, maybe get on the pitch.
Okay, cheers, Jacko. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Wow. So there's a lot of changes and not necessarily surprises because there's nothing you can do about whether it's COVID or injuries as well, but it's a different looking 11. Curbs, I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
Absolutely, and he didn't talk about Fenwell either, did he? Because obviously he's missing. Yeah, I mean, it shows the strength of the squad, obviously. I mean, you're looking at that, but the back three now has really been put together, isn't it? I mean, they've not played together before. You know, so Sean Clare and Innes is back from perhaps being rested midweek, and Purrington, who we've been saying can play left wing back, can play centre back in a free. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And obviously the two up top. I mean, the midfield sorts itself out, but the two up top, Lecco can play there, can't he? I think he mentioned Burstow, but Lecco can play there.
He can, but is he not more of a second striker? And then obviously Mason's a young lad, Brownie. What would you make of the 11? Obviously a lot of it enforced, but also the bench as well.
Yeah, the bench looks young, but what I make of the 11 is there's not a lot of goals there, or certainly not from this season anyway. That's going to be our struggle today, I think, finding the back of the net. I think if you look at the front two, you've got a couple. Well, we know Mason scored 4 or 5, but a couple of them in the League Cup. But the rest are 1s and 2s, aren't they? So we're light on firepower for sure. And that looks like a relatively young bench, doesn't it? Now it's amazing how quickly things turn around. We've been saying for weeks how experienced the bench looks, and that looks pretty young.
Yeah,
inexperienced.
Okay, let's have a look at the league table then, shall we? And we'll start with the bottom half, because that is where we are, in 13th, 39 points, 10 points above the relegation zone. But we can go 10th with a win at the DW, depending on results elsewhere, of course. Let's take a look at the top half, where the top two remain unchanged, with Rotherham and today's opponents Wigan still leading the pack, although MK Dons have now equalled Wigan's points tally, albeit having played 4 games more. 4th place Sunderland have now lost 3 under spin. Wycombe in 6th, without a win in 3. And Sheffield Wednesday are on the up. Look at that. 4 straight victories without conceding, and they are just a point off the playoff places. We're 14 points adrift of that coveted final playoff spot. Still 48 points to play for. Don't look at me like that, Brownie. What do you think, Curbs? I mean, we've already had sort of Brownie's answer there.
Well,
Durable, or do we write it off and plan for next season?
No, I've been saying for the last month or so that we need another Jacko run. You know, he had 7 wins out of 10. We needed to put something like that together to give us a chance of getting in the playoff position or getting anywhere near it. And with these 3 or 4 games coming up, we was talking on Tuesday, you know, we're playing Wigan, we've got Oxford, we've got MK Dons, you know, we've got Sunderland, we've got them all coming up. So there were a chance for us to perhaps catch them teams above us, but didn't go so well in midweek. And I do think if we don't get the 3 points today, then it's going to be too tough.
If we don't get 3 points today, that's it. I mean, the next 5 games, we're going to play teams that are currently in the top 7. So it's certainly going to tell us where we are, isn't it? You know, I think this month will once and for all tell us we're either out, or you're looking at me thinking we're out already.
Yeah, I have done for a few. Every time I'm on, I say the same thing. You know, the gap has got further away from the bottom 4, which is good. You know, we were 6 points at one time, now we're 10, so you haven't got to worry too much about what's coming up behind you. And at one point, I was worried about what was coming up behind. Nobody else seemed to be, but we put some results on the board to get a nice gap from the bottom 4. That's not a worry anymore, but that's insurmountable to me. 14 points. And all the teams we've got between us and 6th spot is, you know, they've all got to lose 5 on the trot. All of them. Yeah, it's a tough ask, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it helps if you end up beating some of them.
Yeah,
well, exactly, and we've got them in the next 5 games, haven't we? And you look at Sheffield Wednesday, what they've done, as I've just mentioned, 4 straight wins, and they're a point off the playoffs
as well. So you're not going to win 14 games, are you? So
okay,
I'm on my own, but I'll keep punching.
How many did we win on the spin that time? 12, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and is that
when I got back in the team? Is that when I got back in the team?
As a goalie?
No.
We almost need a Jacko run. We did a Curbishley run.
We've been saying that for some time. I think when Jacko took over, as Brownie was saying, we were looking down there, weren't we? And you know, that fantastic run he had when he was caretaker, and the wins he's had since he's been manager, you know, as Brownie has said, has took us away from fearing the worst that way.
But considering where we were, the run he's taken
a good run.
has been amazing, isn't it?
It's still a good run.
Even taking into account the mini bad run.
The game is very, very good as a manager. Yeah, not questioning that at all. I just think the gap's too big. All right, and we have to remain positive. I understand that.
Don't have to.
But I'm half glass realistic, as you know.
half glass empty.
No.
But no, you are realistic. OK, look, let's have a look at the fixtures in League One today. There were 10 others. Sheffield Wednesday hosting Rotherham in front of the Sky Sports cameras tomorrow. But today, Wycombe travel to Lincoln. Ipswich have a tough trip to MK Dons, who are now unbeaten in 4, playing well at the moment. Oxford, who we host next weekend, face a resurgent Bolton. And Portsmouth are at home to Donny. Standouts for you, Brownie?
I'm going to go to the MK Dons Ipswich game. Ipswich changed their manager, had a great response. I had a good chat with Matty Holland at a game I was at midweek, and he was waxing lyrical about that manager. He said he's very impressed with him. Come in, called a load of ex-players in, they had a dinner, explained out what they were going to do moving forward, showed them training footage and how that footage is then manifested in the game. 6 clean sheets, I think, or something in 8 games, mate. He said, I'm sure. I haven't looked at the stats, but yeah, he's really positive about them moving forward long term. And I think, you know, the more wins they get on the board, they probably are a team in the sense looking if they can close that gap to the top. So that's a big game because MK Dons are, what do we say, 3rd? I know they've played a lot more games, but they're 3rd, aren't they? Yeah. So they're having a very good season. So that's a standout game for me.
OK, more on today shortly, but let's get to some club news updates now, shall we? And starting with ticketing news. Supporters are reminded the club are running its popular Bring Your Kids for a Quid initiative throughout February. And that means that all under 11 tickets are priced at just £1 each. So whether you're overseas or in the UK, get yourself to the Valley this month and be part of the great atmosphere here. Home matches against Oxford and MK Dons still to come this month, and tickets can be purchased by heading to booking.cafc.co.uk. A streaming update now, and supporters are reminded that today's game is only available to live stream outside of the UK and Ireland as per EFL broadcasting rules. As is the case with every Saturday 3 p.m. game this season, we can only live stream outside of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Jersey, Guernsey, the Isle of Man and the Republic of Ireland. Overseas fans, though, can purchase a match pass for today's game for just £10 by going to cafc.co.uk. Now, we are pleased to show you here on Charlton TV that striker Jayden Stockley is back out running at Sparrows Lane. We won't put a time frame on his return, which has kept him sidelined since December, but we hope to see him back on the pitch soon. On the subject of recoveries, I can also confirm that Jake Forster-Caskey is progressing well, and we'll have him in the Charlton TV studio for a home match against MK Dons later this month. The club hosted its 2nd International Fans Forum last week, and fan advisor Lucy Bishop chaired the call, which owner Thomas Sankard was on. And the topics discussed included the upcoming International Supporters Day, overseas shipping from the club shop, and footballing matters. And fans can read more about it on cafc.co.uk right now. Well, despite a spirited performance on Wednesday night, Charlton's under-18s bowed out at the FA Youth Cup against Brighton and Hove Albion at the Valley. Look at this run from Tyrese Campbell. Came closest for the Addicts when he hit the post, but goals from Evan Ferguson and Andrew Moran sealed the Seagulls' progress to the quarter-finals. Shame that, Curbs and Brownie, isn't it?
That was a run, wasn't it? Amazing. It's a bit like Corey Blackett's run here. No, at Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, yeah.
Portsmouth when he had
absolutely. I was speaking to Mickey Bennett and Carl Lieben, and they were saying Brighton were just very, very good indeed.
They're a good Cat 1 academy, Scott. They spend a lot of money, though, bringing in players. You know, they're entitled to be good.
Yeah.
But,
well done to Hamza Sarah and the lads anyway. Well, finally, we'd like to wish the best of luck to Karen Hills and her squad, who head to Coventry United in the FA Women's Championship tomorrow. The Addicts are currently 9 matches unbeaten and have kept 8 clean sheets in a row. And let's hope they can extend that tomorrow. OK, well, now I am very delighted to announce that we have an international addict all the way from Belize. This man.
Scoring goals for fun. Andy Hunt. Quality with a capital Q. And that's a centre forwards goal from Sean. And Andy Hunt, first of the season. Mark Kinsella's shot deflected into the path of Andy Hunt. Charlton's response 4 minutes before half-time. Andy Hunt equalising. And in stoppage time, Hunt rounded off. Would have been an eventful day. Andy Hunt, a splendid goal. His 3rd hat-trick of the season and his 2nd consecutive league hat-trick.
And there he is. A very warm welcome to Charlton TV, Andy Hunt. Hunty, how are you? Can you hear me?
Good morning. How you doing, guys?
Very good indeed. Look, got to start with you living over in Belize. How on earth did that come about? You can hear Brownie and Curbs, can't you?
Struggling, Hunty. Struggling a bit there, are you?
I can hear you. You hear me all right?
Yeah. We can hear you loud and clear. How did you get to be over there? Looks amazing.
This is my backyard. I'm actually turning it into a studio. So I was thinking maybe you could come out here and do the show, right?
Oh, mate, sorted. Deal. I'm sure Charlton TV will pay for the expenses.
It's February in London. Like, why would you not want to be out here, you know, in the tropics? We got internet.
You're preaching to the converted, Hunty. Listen, let's go down memory lane. I hope you're ready for it as well. We've got some great memories, and obviously Curbs and Brownie alongside me as well. They'll be chipping in. We always like to ask our former players first up, just how on earth did Curbs convince you to come to Charlton? What did he say? And, you know, how did you get to be a Charlton player?
Oh, it wasn't hard at all. I always admired the way Charlton did things and how Curbs, you know, ran the club with the other people involved. And, you know, I played against Charlton many times for West Brom. They always gave us a really tough battle. And, you know, I think I was one of the first Bosman rulings. My contract was running out at West Brom. I'd had 5 years there and you know, a different manager every year. And, you know, when Charlton beat Sunderland in the playoff final, I was watching it with my wife, and I said, God, that'd be great if Charlton came in for me. My contract was running out, and I don't know if you went through that yourself, where your contract's running out and you're playing and you're a bit worried about injuries and stuff like this. But yeah, I said, that'd be great. And then lo and behold, I got a phone call. I think it was you that called me, Curbs, wasn't it?
Yeah, straight away. As soon as we got out of the hotel.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I fell off my chair. I was like, no, seriously? And yeah, so, I mean, you know, you try to act cool, don't you, when somebody approaches you? but no, I mean, I didn't have to think twice about that. As soon as Curbs called me, it was already a done deal, you know?
Yeah, well, don't fall off your sunbed there, were you? I mean, Brownie, what were your first impressions of Hunty as a teammate?
Yeah, I mean, when he came in the building, obviously, he probably didn't know me so well because I was at the back of the group, you know, running last and not getting in the team. But he was a fantastic addition to what we already had. The thing that Hunty provided was all the hard work in the channels Hunty would do, hold the ball up, very strong on his left side. So now you've got two strikers, one predominantly right, one predominantly left. Very good in the areas. You've just seen from the clips, always taking up great positions in the penalty area. And I felt that was my time at the club, that was the best strike force we ever had. Those two up front were just superb.
You going on with that, Curbs?
Well, yeah, I think that, you know, we had Clive, obviously, who would come to feet and players could play it into him and know that it'd stick and they could run off him. And we had Hunty that would, as Brownie said, would be different. You know, we could hit a diagonal ball up to him and we know he'd challenge it and it may pop down to us. We could go over the top. But if we got in crossing positions, and obviously we had Newts, we had Robbo, if we had a crossing position, they knew it was coming in. And Hunty revelled in that, the fact that anything that come into the 6-yard box, not many people was going to beat Hunty in the air.
Yeah. Hunty, when you first signed, obviously Clive was here. He was Charlton's main man because of his goal-scoring record and what happened the previous season. Did that bother you in any way that he was the headline grabber?
Not at all. I went through the same process at West Brom with Bob Taylor. I went there and he scored 40-odd goals in that season, and I went there when they got in the playoffs. So I think you have to have as a striker for sure, you have to have a sort of stubborn, thick skin that, you know what you're doing, you know, and you won't survive if you have doubts about who you are and what you're going to do. I mean, moving clubs is a challenge for sure, and Clive obviously is a legend, just unbelievable goal scorer. But you just go and you just give it your best and see what happens. And so no, I never felt intimidated or under pressure. I never felt the pressure from Curbs or the management, and the players are great. You know, Charlton had a really amazing team spirit at that point. I guess it was just I'd say years, probably decades, right, of just developing and building the club. So the quality of the players was great. The team spirit was great. So you just come in and really enjoy it. And it's interesting that Curbs is talking about the wingers. I have to say it was just because I talk about this these days with my young guys. It's like playing with Sean and Robbo was just a pleasure. I mean, I think over the years they'd really refined the wingers role. And they could just drop it on a sixpence for me, which I liked, which I enjoyed, and I think I'd reached a stage in my career where I could move around pretty good, get into areas where it was difficult for defenders, and just get on the end of things. And we worked on it a lot in training. I mean, we really did. I mean, we worked a lot on the wingers. Supplying quality balls into us, and it was a delight to play in that squad.
You mentioned the two wide players, but I've got to ask you what it was like playing alongside Clive as well. What made it so good, you two, in that relationship?
Well, actually, Clive had quite a few injuries, and then I think we had a few other guys like Martin Pringle came in, and Svensson and a few others. So. People ask me about who my favourite strikers were to play with and stuff like that. And I just enjoyed the whole thing. I mean, I like playing with all the different styles, like Curb said, Clive was really good at keeping the ball. He had just this knack of being able to squirm out of situations and in the penalty box for sure. So you just try to dovetail nicely with whoever you're playing with, and I did that with Clive. But I'm not sure if you check the records, but I don't know how many games I actually played with Clive. I know we had a bit of a tough season, the first season going into the Premier League. That was a real eye-opener, dealing with some of them guys in the Premier League. But Clive was, I mean, he's a legend, isn't he? And I mean, the way he could finish in the box was unique for sure. The way he could turn, and learned a lot off him in training. As you always do, you keep learning and moving on, and so I hope he's doing well.
Look, you touched on the first season there that ended in relegation, so let's go to the next season then, shall we? Which is what you're best known for. Just how enjoyable was that season?
It was great after the first few games. Brownie, I don't know if you remember. It felt to me like it felt like there was more pressure at the start of that season than there was in the Premier League. I don't know if we were all just enjoying the Premier League too much, just loving being there, going out at Old Trafford and Anfield and these places. But the first few games, I think we struggled a little bit, and Curbs dropped me. I think that was at Fulham. You never like to get the little... just go up and see the gaffer.
The curly finger, we're hearing. The curly finger, Friday finger.
You never remember the good stuff, just when you were left out. He's right, though. He's right. We struggled. I think the expectation levels is the thing here. We weren't expected to stay up because you didn't spend a great deal of money when we went up, and yet when we came down, we were considered a very strong squad. It's interesting what Hunty's saying about Clive there, because all I remember is they scored about 60 goals between them, which would suggest. They did play, certainly in that championship year. It was my favourite year, Hunty. I don't know about yourself, but that championship year when we finally got ourselves to the top of the table, it all just come together.
Curbs, I'll just ask you here. We spoke on Tuesday about needing a Curbishley run. We've spoken today about needing a Curbishley run. But how vital was Hunty to that 12-match winning run?
Oh, I mean, some of the goals you see just in the memory lane there. I mean, fantastic finishes. Dropping his shoulder, getting it onto his left. I didn't see too many going with his right foot, but that's what he wasn't bought for. But he was right. Clive had his injuries. We bought different players in Svensson, Pringle. Even they took injuries, but we knew we could always rely on Hunty. And that pre-season wasn't the best. We had the notorious Fat Five in the
wasn't in it
in the centre circle, Colchester away friendly. And then we got done up. We didn't play very well at Fulham. I remember keeping players out on the pitch. I don't know if you remember that, but I kept them on the pitch. The fans were still there, you know, behind the goal, because all the fans are behind the goal at Fulham, aren't they? And I just felt, you know, I didn't do it. What's his name? Phil Brown, when he was going like that. But I made sure that the fans knew that we weren't happy. You know, instead of just crawling in. And the Fulham dressing rooms are too small to have a row anyway, aren't they? So I kept the players out so the fans could see it. And I think, you know, they understood that we weren't quite at it. But once we got going, then there was no stopping us.
Hunt, if I was to say to you, Stockport, would that bring a smile to your face?
Yeah, I'm banned from that city.
Hat-tricks in both league games that season.
Yeah, ridiculous. I don't know what it was. I mean, there's just some teams that just fit your eye for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea, but I think the second hat-trick I got back-to-back, didn't I, with Norwich as well. That goal there, funny enough, that's one of my favourites, because I was never known for my dribbling. I was a little bit long and gangly, so, you know, just that one really pleased me a lot, because, you know, just feinting and dropping my shoulder and you know, sending the defender the wrong way and a nice finish. So simple goal like that, but it pleased me a lot. You know, you get somebody like Mo Salah, he does that all the time, right? But you know, it was very pleasing to score that. But yeah, Stockport. It's strange though, because the home game was when I first found out I had glandular fever. So I got. You know, I did a test and found out, because I was struggling a little bit, and then I got the test, but I went to the game. I think we won 4-1 at home, and I scored a hat-trick. So,
well, we'll come on to that in just a sec, Hunty, because, you know, I want to still talk about that particular season and how you were feeling at that time. Did you feel like every time you were going to step out onto the pitch that you were going to score?
Yeah, definitely. After the first couple of games, like I said, I got dropped. But getting dropped is a huge motivator for sure. And I can't remember how I got back in the team, but you know, that's the management way to motivate some players, right? And I never really needed that. I always felt like I gave a good account of myself as best I could. I mean, you have good and bad days, of course, but. Yeah, I really loved that season, and like Brownie said, it was like he'd been there a long time, so he'd gone through the sort of the development of the squad and the club, and been a sort of stalwart there for many years. For me, coming in as a new player, the atmosphere was brilliant. We struggled in the Premier League, definitely. I think it was an eye opener. We didn't really probably bring our level up enough, but we were all very seasoned Championship players, and we'd all had, you know, we got good resumes in that league, so we were a extremely strong squad. And I think, going back to the Fulham thing, that was one of the only times I ever saw Curbs get pretty mad at us. So, you know, after that, I think the penny dropped, and we just went on a tear. I mean, you know, we were unstoppable, and you know, we had a great sort of consecutive winning run. Flew to the top of the league. I think we were there, I don't know, was it before Christmas? And that was it. Once we hit the top of the league, you couldn't catch us.
Yeah, it was an amazing run. I mean, obviously then went up. We're going to look now at your last goal for Charlton, which was against Coventry again. Your first goal against Coventry, your last goal. It was a 2-2 draw. Just tell us more about the illness and how that made you feel during the games, during the matches, and training as well.
Well, I think you can see in the little clip here at the end, you can see I look absolutely knackered. I mean, they had the board up to bring me off. I could be wrong. I think it was about an hour into the game. But you can see on my face now, I look shattered. So, yeah, I got glandular fever. I played with it. Probably shouldn't have done. Probably should have rested. And then that was the year. That was the start of the. Bizarrely enough, I had my best season, but I think a lot of that comes down to just years of training and experience and reaching the peak of my career, I suppose, and playing in an outstanding team. So then after that, I just struggled I just never felt fresh, you know. I never felt like I'd recovered. So the club were brilliant. I got to rest a lot. Played the whole year, and like I said, you know, we were the champions. I was the top scorer in the league. Totally rested through the summer for the being back in the Premier League, and I came back great. I'd scored 4 goals in 8 games. I think we were almost top at that point. I mean, Man City at home was the opening game. I scored in that game. We beat them. Was it 5? I can't remember now. It was we played so well, but then it just came back like doubly hard. It just really it felt like I was carrying a sack of bricks around the whole game, and I just couldn't get fresh. I just couldn't get my recovery. So you know, I think that people talk a lot about COVID nowadays, and I think a lot of people got to be careful with that too, because these are viruses and they can linger. So you got to make sure you get rested enough. And you know, they talk about long COVID now. Very, very similar symptoms, I think. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I certainly hope the players that do get diagnosed are well rested and make sure they get their recovery so that they can continue.
Curbs, just tell us how good, how important Hunty was for the club and how big a loss that was.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw one of the goals there, and I think Jensen was jumping on him, and Johansson and JJ was there, we put together a really strong attacking side. But I remember we was doing Andy's talking about their pre-season, and you know, when players come back for pre-season, you know, you do the hard running for a week, and then the second week you should be getting stronger. But Andy was getting weaker, and he was saying to me he was going home after the training session in the afternoon, and then falling asleep till the morning, like going through, you know, the evening and etc. And as the players were getting stronger, he was going the other way, and obviously the illness took hold of him, and it was terrible. I mean, we've lost some players here because of injury over the years in my time, but he was the biggest loss, because the way he was playing and the performances he was putting in, we probably wouldn't have been able to hold on to him the way he was playing. You know, someone was going to come in and take him, that's for sure. So for him to lose all that as well, and to see him now is great, you know, because a lot of people would have took that the wrong way, having to retire because of that illness.
Very quickly, Brandy, because we.
Oh, he needs to leave his address for us, doesn't he? How expensive is it to fly out, Hunty?
I've done it enough times. I know the routes. I'd love to have you out here. Just bring the camera and definitely we'll set it up. Let's make the studio right here. Look, you can make your pina colada.
Oh, sounds good, Rodney. Yeah, be up for that. Listen, I've got to say, Hunty, I never played with you personally, but whenever Clive's name comes up, and obviously it does, Curbs always makes sure that you get to mention as well. So clearly you made a big impact, not just at the club, but with Curbs personally. Very quickly, final one. Any plans of coming back to the Valley at all?
Yeah. Hopefully, I should be. I've been, I wouldn't say stuck, but I've been not particularly keen to travel over the last couple of years because of the restrictions that keep changing all the time on travel. But it does look like things are starting to ease off, and I'm hoping to come soon because my family, you know, I want to visit my family there in Norfolk, and so definitely, I'm not sure when because still, you know, the boys are in, my oldest at university, my youngest at school, so we have to wait for all of that to unravel. But definitely, I hope to be back. I don't know. The season ends what, May, right? End of May, middle of May,
end of April.
Okay, so probably not before then, but maybe I'll have to time it for a August trip.
We'll get you in for the start of the next season, Hunty. Listen, I've seen some big gardens in my time. I've never seen a jungle as a garden. That's absolutely amazing. Been an absolute pleasure, and all the very best out there.
Thanks ever so much for inviting me on. It's been great catching up, and Curbs and Brownie, great to see you guys again.
Take care, Andrew.
Well, mate. Scott, to yourself. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, I have to say. My favourite one probably so far. OK, back to present day now, and it's been a very few busy weeks, I think it's fair to say, for Craig McGillivray, who has been of goalkeeper by day of late and baby feeder and nappy changer by night, following the birth, of course, of his baby girl just last month.
Frustrating result, and we've addressed it, we've had a look at it. I think a draw would have been a fair reflection. A draw would have been fair for both sides. I don't think either team really created a lot. When we scored, I think they were massively on the back foot. I think there was only one team really that looked like they were going to go on and get a goal. I think maybe a key pass here and there, just a little bit more quality in the final third, or a little bit more of a break in front of the goal, and we maybe nick another one and the whole game's a different kettle of fish. But unfortunately, we've been done by 2 goals. One when there's nothing in the game, and then one when we just got ourselves back in the game, and that's the sucker punch that's ultimately cost us. They obviously brought a lot of players in the summer. Good team. They're obviously up at the top end of the league. Got a lot of talented footballers. We obviously played them earlier in the season. I think we're a different outfit now, and hopefully we go there and we can get 3 points on the road. Me and my missus had obviously a little girl. I don't think anyone can ever sort of explain what it feels. I think you can try, but until you actually get your little one in your hands and you can see them every single day in the flesh, I don't think it'll ever be something you can explain. Like, the emotions of it all are beyond what I ever thought they'd be, and it's just sort of a proud moment as well to become a dad. Changed, I don't even know how many nappies, how many bottles I've made. I'll do as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I've got to bear in mind with my football and stuff, it's a very physically demanding job, so you have to bear that in mind and make sure I get my sleep and make sure that you're ready to do the best you can when it comes to training and games. But at the same time, as a dad, I want to be there to help both of them as much as I can as well. But it's trying to get that balance, which I think I'm doing. She is very, very cute, and there's nothing better when you go home from training and it just puts an instant smile on your face when you go home and see her just sort of curled up in a little ball, bless her. She does give you extra motivation as well, that added incentive now of a daughter to do well.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget about the human side when we just look at the player out on a 3 o'clock or a Tuesday evening or whatever. I mean, when you're playing and you've got a newborn baby to look after, that must be really difficult. You've been through that before, haven't you?
Yeah, we had.
Did you change nappies?
Yeah, of course.
Night before a game?
What do you think? Yes. Married to Mandy, aren't I? So I yeah, no, I breastfed as well. Yeah. If I could, she would have made me. Yeah. No, I mean, I had George at 24 and Alicia was come around when we were 27. So 2 kids at 27, and to be honest with you, at that point, you're begging you get on your away trips, aren't you?
What was it like for you, Curbs, playing wise?
Well, actually,
how old were you when you had the kids?
Yeah, no, actually, I signed for Charlton, and Carol was having my baby Claire 2 weeks later. So she was full on when I came down from Villa, and I remember Jimmy Hill sorted out, because he was the acting chairman, and he knew someone in St Bart's and whatever. And so when we came down, we obviously lived in Essex, but Carol had Claire in Bart's, because Jimmy Hill knew the gynaecologist and all that sort of thing. So yeah, great. But it can focus, you know, bad result midweek, but then he's come home, you know, and he ain't going to dwell. He won't. You need to dwell on it, but he won't be dwelling too much because he's got other things going on.
Absolutely.
So that's the good side of it.
Yeah, definitely, and he's done well since he's replaced Ben as well, hasn't he? Ben, of course, he's up against today, so we'll look forward to that. Let's have a look at the game on Tuesday, though, shall we? Because, you know, Brandy, you're up there, Curbs, you're with me. just cannot afford to score one really good goal and concede 2 sloppy ones, can you? Simple as that.
No, and that's just a massive technical breakdown there, isn't it? You know, he lets it bounce, but he can't get to the bounce of the ball. He's too far back, it's too deep. So once it bounces, you turn, he tries to head it back and misheads it. Piercy did the same season before. And you can't do that with the pace they had up top on Tuesday night. You were never catching him, and it was a good finish in the end.
However, Curbs, I mean, fair play to Jacko. He not only made 2 very good substitutions, but he also changed the system, which, again, from a manager's point of view, it's control the controllables, and he passed that test.
Brownie was up there, but it looked as if Bolton couldn't cope with a change. Like, we went to a 4 in midfield or a diamond or whatever, and we got ourselves back in the game, and that was so frustrating after we scored our goal, which was a really well-worked goal. A couple of minutes later, we're back down to 2-1, and
it's interesting, Jai Simi picks it up there. He'd been, by and large, not in the game at all as wing-back. And when we did make the change to the diamond, it made a huge difference, Curbs. For the first time, the game became a little bit exciting. It was actually a really boring game to summarise on until we made that change. And then it livened right up.
That little touch enabled Chucks to move and lose his man.
Yeah.
If Fraser would have put it in first time, it probably would have cleared that. It was a really well-worked goal, and you're thinking, that's us now.
Yeah,
15 minutes to go.
I will say at that point, it was us in the ascendancy.
Yeah.
So this was quite a surprise.
And you said at the time, just before the free kick, Curbs, 1-1, either team could win this, and then this happened.
Well, I was fearing the worst when Claire gave the foul away, because there was no need to give the foul away. He's barged the player off the ball, isn't he? And it's the 3rd goal in 2 games now from set plays. They get their head on it first, and they're going in.
Got to get back to clean sheets, though, Brownie, haven't we?
Yeah, 2 in 11 now. You know, and that's something that you know, as a coaching staff, you've got to reflect on. I don't blame, people will look towards the coaching staff and the management for conceding 3 set pieces in 2 goals. It's not. The players have got to take responsibility. Coaching staff will be coaching that. Absolutely. 100% on the training field. Curbs and Merv were very diligent on how they went about us picking up at set pieces. It's individual decision making during the game that's costing us.
Plus very proactive substitutions and a change of system as well. Let's have a look at today's team, shall we? Because there are 4 changes in total, and also look at the bench. We've got Noel John there, we've got Juan Castillo there, and the youngster Daniel Cano. Wonder if he's going to make his debut. You feeling confident, Curbs?
Well, you know what? What I like, they're going to a decent stadium, playing a top team, because I thought Wigan were one of the best teams I've seen here.
Very good.
And we're going to have to be at it. And we have got the ability, that's for sure.
Let's have a look at Wigan's team, shall we? I mean, it's no win in 3, but they had gone on a joint club record, 20 games unbeaten in all competitions. And you can see Will Keane there, he's back in. He scored 6 in his last 7 appearances, Brownie. So, this is who wants to go here? It's one of the top teams in the division, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, if you finish above these, you're going to get promoted, in my opinion. So the top 2 up there now are the top 2 for me. We've been saying that for a very long time, actually. You've got to keep a clean sheet today to get anything from this. I know it's an obvious statement, but we are just leaking too many goals. And the only chance we're not going to win 2-1 or 3-2, in my opinion. So, the clean sheet is absolutely vital.
Jacko never mentioned Fenway in the...
No.
So, he must be injured as well. He's not even on the bench, so... Yeah, I mean, we spoke on Tuesday night how much time they'd have to train. They'd hardly have any time to train, and he's put this side together. But, what I liked about midweek, when he did change it, so it can be changed. I mean, we've seen a lot of this, 3 at the back or 5 at the back. But once we changed, we looked a little bit different, didn't we? So
the flexibility's there, but he has said he wants to have whether you call it a philosophy or just a style of play that the lads are used to, which is 3-5-2 now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I will say this, I gave them no chance away at Sunderland. And look at that result. They were absolutely superb on the day. We need something similar.
I don't think anyone gave them a chance up at Sunderland, and not many are given us a chance up at Wigan. So let's hope we come away with the same result, shall we? Let's get to our commentary team. Terry Smith and Greg Stubley. How are you guys?
All well, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Curbs. Thank you, Brownie. Back in the studio, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the DW Stadium. Myself and Greg Stubley here it's an afternoon that's a little bit chilly, a little bit breezy. There's a hint of rain in the air as they've been on and off all day, so the surface will be skiddy. And looking at the team use, this could be exciting.
Well, yeah, I hear it's sunny down south.
Yeah, apparently.
Brought some suntan with them, so it's completely different up here, sadly. So, but yeah, it's certainly an interesting team, and one that you feel that's been forced.